Let's do it. We won a series. Yes. Beat the Tampa Bay Rays in a 3-game series. We haven't had a happy episode in so long, and I feel like we can actually have a real happy one because there was a lot of really good things that happened in this series. Episode number 195 of the Mets'd podcast, the official podcast of the New York Mets. So much to talk about. Game 1, not so much, but Game 2 and 3, a lot of conversations to go on. Senga, the walk-off home runs. Game 3, another exciting one, back-and-forth baseball. Just, it's really refreshing to be able to talk about the Mets in a very positive light here.
Can I stop you for a second?
Yeah, go.
Shouldn't I keep doing the intro?
You should. Yeah. All right, Vito, we got to restart it now.
No, we don't have to restart. We can stick here.
Yeah,
but,
just take it.
Hey, if you guys like what you see right here, follow us, Mets'd podcast, subscribe, leave a rating, review, and now we're going to bring in Mark. We're talking about the series.
Here I am again. Yeah, no more intros for me until the Mets lose another series. But for now, we're winners. And we've beat the Rays and the Dodgers.
Last 2 series wins. 2 teams with the best records in each of their respective leagues in baseball. And you kind of called it a little bit in the last episode where this team might have just had to rise to an occasion. And they rose to an occasion in a huge way, especially on Wednesday night. But it kind of just felt like that film we were talking about, that malaise that was over this team, it really kind of got relieved a little bit. It's partially by coming home, it felt like. Yeah. And also just by the fact that we know we have to give our best to be the team that is the best. And they did.
How refreshing was it to hit some home runs?
Home runs are so much fun.
So much fun.
Mets hit 7 home runs in the last 3 days. Like I think John's going to try and find how many games before that took the Mets to hit 7 home runs. But it felt like a lifetime because home runs are incredibly fun. I really forgot how much fun home runs are, especially when they're being hit by just these youngsters teeming with testosterone and fury and power and fun.
On the 16th at 7:55, I tweeted, hitting home runs looks like so much fun. Wish the Mets could do that. Up from that point till today, so Game 3 is the start of Game 3, the Mets had only scored runs by hitting home runs in games, which I was like, I mean, the jinx was unbelievable again.
And the only other 2 runs the Mets scored were literally on infield hit. Again, one was an out, a fielder's choice, one was a dribbler. That time Fan beat the out.
And Pete got the home run in Game 3. So it's like the home runs have continued, which is a very, very promising sign, especially from Pete Alonso, who has been a little bit hot and cold this year, but 16 home runs, like 38 RBIs on the year.
Also, as bad as it got Tuesday night with Justin Verlander getting hit kind of hard, the fans getting pretty restless in his home debut, we did find 3 home runs later in the game when it was already seemingly out of reach. It did get kind of close towards the end, cut to a 3-run lead, but those home runs kind of started, and it felt like that maybe allowed the Mets to realize. You kind of felt like, all right, things are happening again. The offense is feeling it again. We're kicking again. Like, we have power that we know we have.
Almost like, hey, we can hit home runs. We can do this. And, like, there were a bunch of balls in Washington, too, that, like, were home runs in, like,
Warning
20
tracks.
of the 30 parks.
Yeah.
Tommy Pham got screwed on a couple balls that should have been out. But, yeah, it's really nice. It's like, okay, so let's just talk about Game 1, I guess, then. Start talking about that one with Verlander's debut.
I think that was basically it.
Yeah, but I mean, we do have to talk about Verlander's start real quick. Just get it over with. It wasn't great by any means, and this is luckily where the bad baseball kind of ends here. Verlander just wasn't sharp on Tuesday night.
And that happens to pitcher against literally the best offense in baseball, as we told all you guys before the series started. Luckily, Yandy hasn't even played in the series too, which is great for us. He's actually due back tomorrow. They said we could come back today, but they want to give him the one more day off in the day game. We're like, all right, nice. Thank you guys so much, but. You kind of felt immediately what this Rays lineup does. They're able to take pitches. They work deep in the counts. They draw a lot of walks, and then anyone can put it out. And we felt that with Isaac Paredes getting 2 and Jose Siri, who's almost turned out to be a little bit of a Mets killer himself. Like,
almost a rat. I mean, he's probably rat adjacent, I think, now.
I said this to you on Wednesday night. He is the full reincarnation of Avisail Garcia, who, if you guys were really thinking about baseball 5 or 6 years ago, came up with the Rays as just this just torqued up dude who can just hit the ball really hard and run really fast, but then the rest of it kind of gets lost, and that is Jose Siri.
Yeah, and he came from the Astros too. 2 very smart organizations. Like you said, he hit that home run, hit one in Game 2 as well. We thought he was going to almost maybe drop that Mark Vientos home run, which was a little bit scary. But yeah, going back to Game 1, a little bit just of felt like a bad vibe to start the series a little bit. But I mean, like we kind of said with the rest of this one, we know how it ended. It's really nice to see them bounce back from that.
Yeah, the big thing was that the Rays didn't really chase anything against Justin Verlander, especially not a slider. They didn't swing and miss 1 time as curveball. They whiffed 3 times as slider, but they're really spitting on it a lot when it was out of the zone. It's just a smart team that probably had a really good game plan to attack.
And it was Verlander's 3rd start of the year after missing some time.
And first at home.
First at home. Sure, the juice was flowing a little bit. Gonna be all right. We played softball. We almost won our game. Almost.
Got close.
We are on a winless softball team.
Don't say that.
Why?
Why would you say that?
We are. It's
true, but I guess I don't know.
I'm not a liar.
It's unfortunate that we are.
We got maybe some of the boys listen to this.
Yeah,
wake us
hopefully,
up.
it's true. We've been close a few times. God,
so close.
We lost 17-16 Tuesday night.
Heartbreaker. The guy
football game.
The guy who made the game-winning catch on the other team, which is like a weird way to explain it, but the guy who made the catch to save the game for them fell and tripped like 3 times on previous fly balls in the outfield.
Yeah, I know.
And then he made this
diving
unbelievable
catch.
acrobatic catch to save the game. And then when we went out for drinks afterwards, they were at the same bar, which was a little bit heartbreaking too.
But there was also like nice people. A lot of these leagues, these like men's softball leagues in the city, you get a lot of heart of those. So it was cool.
James has some good pieces too.
Yeah, I do. I got a couple nice shots, made some nice plays in the outfield
sure.
too. We had a really good defensive game, the podcast. But also shout out Jeff McHitz. He's the best hitter in our softball team. He was on deck with the game on the line. That diving catch kept him from coming up after he already had hit a legit home run over the fence in softball.
Yeah,
it was unbelievable. People were marveling from around the park. But yeah, shout out Jeff. You know who you are.
Of course, shout out Jeff. That's the end of game 1. Let's talk about game 2 now, because
it was also funny just doing this in softball because like a lot of this team is Mets fans.
Oh, true.
We were like, everyone was keeping track on their phone, like moaning and groaning, like, oh my God. Especially after coming off the game on Monday, we were like, oh no, this is really brutal. Everyone just pontificating about the Mets. And then it all washed away suddenly on Wednesday night. Felt like the first time in a month.
Yeah, I mean, we were there. We were at the game. First time in a minute that we've been at a Mets game, honestly, since the last time we recorded an episode.
Yeah.
Electric City from the start. I mean, I was surprised at how many people were here. I was a little worried about maybe what it was going to look like with, the Rays in town. I know me and you love the Rays, like as baseball fans, but we know they don't really bring the biggest attendance. That being said, I saw a lot of Rays hats and jerseys around the stadium. Shout out to the Rays fans.
Yeah.
Shout out to the Mets fans too. But shout out to the Rays fans, because a team that doesn't get a lot of love in terms of because their attendance is always awful, but people don't realize the stadium's terrible and it's in the middle of nowhere and it's a pain in the butt to get to. But they got fans and they showed up.
The New York City to Tampa, St. Petersburg pipeline is fruitful.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of people are going back and forth to those two places.
University
regularly.
of Tampa.
Of course,
a lot of New Yorkers.
Can I add something to you guys too?
You can.
Viets.
This is also their home stadium. They did use Citi Field as their home stadium one time.
Yes.
Oh my God, I forgot about that.
Yes.
Thumbs down.
Yeah.
Thumbs down.
The
guys.
other thumbs down.
The other
thumbs down.
The guy, the guy.
Yeah.
That's actually so funny that guy did that here, and now he's like a Mets person. Like people see him at like Mets games all the time.
Yeah.
And like they want to take pictures with him, but that was at a Rays game technically.
That's one of my favorite like just small gifs or like little images, memes to put on Twitter.
Was it on the back page of the Post?
He might have been.
I think he got on the back page of the Post for that.
At least he was in the Post, but
pretty impressive for a random guy doing something.
yeah. But it was weird also Wednesday night because it was kind of the tale of 2 games because almost even 3 games because the first game was the fact that Kodai Senga was completely lights out, the best start of his young MLB career.
With his family in town.
And he was very tongue-in-cheek after the game, especially after Verlander left the field with some booze on Tuesday. He was like, yeah, I'm really happy my family didn't see me get booed, which was the second best quote that came out of Wednesday's game. But only gave up 1 earned run, got 12 strikeouts against, again, the best offense in baseball.
Yep.
12 strikeouts are the most by a Japanese-born starting pitcher in Mets history.
Hell yeah.
And 18 whiffs. Most by a Mets pitcher this year, and those strikeouts and whiffs were, of course, the most Senga's had this year himself.
Yes,
it was just all-around incredible game.
He was disgusting. We were watching. We float around the ballpark. We go in different spots, different areas, and he was just like in control the entire time, which was really nice because Senga he's had his ebbs and flows. We knew this was going to happen. We've talked about it 100 times on the podcast, but he, like you said, he very much felt in control this game, and it felt like a very big step forward in the progression for Kodai Senga's career. Not that there was ever a doubt, but it was just like, oh, yeah, like when this guy has got it going and figuring it out, like he has the chance to be absolutely dominant.
Yeah, and the big thing that happened, which is something we've alluded to in this podcast a little bit, is that he just made a lot of really little adjustments that kept the Rays super off balance. We've talked about the fact that Kodai kind of gets into this little routine with hitters, where it's like you get the fastball to start, you get to 2 strikes, drop the ghost fork. Fastball to start, get 2 strikes, drop the ghost fork. And then whatever happens in between there, that kind of determine whether start would be a good one or a bad one. But he really, really varied his pitch mix in this one. Mostly changing up the way he was using his fastball, his cutter, and his ghost fork, and his sweeper a little bit. Really what he did was kind of hide the sweeper. It's a pitch that hasn't really come along as much for him, something he learned this offseason at Driveline, trying to get himself to the major leagues. And he really just hit it, mostly used it as the first pitch.
Yeah.
Like that became the get-me-over pitch, which is cool. And he also used more cutters than fastballs as first pitch of at-bats, which that's a very new trend for Kodai Senga. And he also threw more fastballs than ghost forks when he was up 0-2 specifically, and got a lot of Rays hitters to freeze on the 97-mile-an-hour fastball. He did a really good job of also working it inside to the left-hand hitters, because the Rays just have platoons for days, and they stack all the lefties against the righties and the righties against lefties, which was amazing. And overall, he threw 44 fastballs, 24 cutters, 24 ghost forks. Very even mix. And with all that, something we've seen Kodai struggle with a lot this season, starting off hitters with strikes. 20 out of 24 Rays saw a first pitch strike, over 83%.
So sick.
Highest rate so far in his major league career. And with that all, kind of mixing things up, he was getting them to chase more often. He had the highest chase rates had any individual start so far this season. It was a lot of really good things for Senga. He only got down 3-0 once, No, he was never down 3-0. He only was down 2-0 once, and only once was down 3-1.
It's fantastic.
He was completely in control.
And like for those of you at home, if you look up the stats of hitters like 0-1, 1-1, like, you know, just look at the stats for every single count. Whenever the pitcher's ahead, the numbers are not great for hitters. It's very, very hard when you are behind in the count. So for him to get ahead early with the nasty stuff that we know he has, because that's the other thing to talk about, is he was pumping 97, 98 late into this game with that ghost fork, with that sweeper, with that cutter. He's got really, really good stuff. So being able to get ahead against one of the best offenses is just so big. And something that we've talked about too, and like you mentioned it, like how he was able to kind of change the way that he structured his pitches in the at-bat. Like, if me and you were figuring it out, I'm sure the Rays are figuring it out too. And the fact that he was able to make that adjustment and it was so successful, like that to me is just such a huge, like, wow, that's a big moment.
And that's also super how you keep a team like this off balance. When they come in against you to play you, and I'm sure the Rays do a lot of prep work. I'm sure it's a huge part of the organizational strategy. Yeah, right? So when teams have a really specific game plan against you and they have to throw it out in the beginning of a game, you're completely thrown off. And they only even scratched off that one run with just a couple well-hit balls in succession. But it was also Succession. We play the Succession music before all the games here. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah, it's electric.
It's out of nowhere too, and it's very cool. But
that music might get me to watch the show.
It's really good music. I don't know how much you like the show because it's all like rich business people on private jets and making deals.
I've seen on TikTok like some like funny moments from like quotes, and I'm like, I like the lingo.
No, this is good. They say some insane stuff, but. Yeah, I don't know why I talk about Succession, but just the fact that you can kind of like wrap around these hitters a little bit. And the second you drop a sweeper that they weren't even really expecting that much, and you were expecting it, it was like deeper into account. First pitch, now you're like, oh my God, am I gonna be ready for 97? Am I gonna be ready for another breaking ball? He also mixed in. It could have just been pitch recognition, like mishaps on Baseball Savant, but they had some registered curveballs and sliders that he was throwing. One that looked like it slipped out of his hand came out like 63 miles an hour. That weird pitch. Yeah, that just floated through.
The tweet.
Yeah, the tweet. So they were tweeting about SNY tweeted about that pitch, that slip pitch when he had struck out 5 guys in a row, like to start the game.
And I was like,
where are the strikeouts?
You told me, I'm like, call him out. They did. They immediately tweeted out a strikeout right after that. So
I was like, yeah, I want to tweet some strikeouts because Senga looked amazing. He struck out like 6 guys the first time through the order. It was just a really amazing start and really good to see him, especially the day after Justin Verlander didn't pitch to his best. Kodai Senga being the stopper, adding that element as the number 3 guy in this rotation is really important.
Listen, we know he follows the podcast. Maybe he listened, maybe he heard, and that's why I made the adjustments. You never know. The Mets'd podcast difference.
Yeah, I'd like to do another interview with Kodai Senga. Now that he's been here, we could get a little how has New York been now rather than how New York will be.
That's true.
Yeah, I'm sure a lot's happened to Kodai Senga in the 6 months since we talked to him.
One day.
Yeah, one day.
One day. But yeah, let's talk about the rest of this game because outside Kodai Senga, it was pure chaos. Yeah. Absolutely nuts. Of course, we know Mark Vientos got called up. That was the big news of the day. Mark Vientos got in the starting lineup, hitting 8th at third base. And Mark Vientos had a pretty big play in this game, I think we could say, with that game-tying home run in the 7th.
Yeah, we were down 2-0, and it kind of felt like another one of those games where a lot of people were moaning and groaning. It felt like a lot of people, at least who were standing around us in the outfield, were kind of quitting and being very pessimistic. And Mark Vientos just came up and he got a slider that just came low in the zone. Not even a bad pitch either. No. Really good pitch. Ryan Thompson also has a great slider. It was only the 4th home run Ryan Thompson had allowed on this slider in the past 3 years.
Dang.
And Mark Vientos went down and golfed it out over center field. And almost did get robbed. You said it before. Almost got robbed. That would have absolutely killed me. I would have crumbled in my seats right there. I would have disintegrated.
And it would have been Jose Siri.
Yeah.
He would have gotten on the rat list for sure.
I would have disintegrated right into my sneakers. But that was a beautiful moment. It kind of like everyone kind of was like, okay, we can do this again.
Yes, it gave the stadium some desperately needed life at that moment. And then we know it got away again.
Yeah, it got away again.
Yeah,
Adam Ottavino came out in the 8th inning, and we've talked about Adam Ottavino's like noted struggles versus left-handed hitters on this show a few times. It's just his repertoire is amazing, but it doesn't leave as much wiggle room against a lefty because that sweeper is going towards them rather than away from them. Just as simply as that could be put. And they kind of teed off on him a little bit, really got around, and Hope kind of felt lost again, but want to shout out some friends that we made in the outfield in this game. She asked us not to reveal her name.
Really?
Yeah, she said no.
Oh, I didn't hear that.
I mean, she's an attorney, so I guess that was maybe too much information there. But her fiance and her friend, we had an incredible time. A couple of our friends came through too. We had a great group of people around a table right by the Arancini Bros.
The social table.
Yeah, in right field. Yeah, it was social table. Everyone was making friends, hanging out, communicating. And she gave an interesting perspective about being a Mets fan because her family growing up in Queens, but she was like a Mets fan, but not really a Mets fan. And she wound up meeting her fiance, who was a diehard, and like getting super back into it. But she missed that whole section of Mets fandom between 1987 and right now, the second, where you kind of get hurt a lot and like a lot of things happened, and you really like, I don't know how I can feel right now any day of the week, but she was like, you got to just be positive. I've never met a more negative group of fans. And she was like, I'm a Bills fan. I stay positive all the time. Like, we can stay positive about this too. And she kept saying the word like manifest it. Yes. And we're like, all right, let's manifest it, whatever. And then come up in the 9th inning, Daniel Vogelbach draws a walk. Starling Marte gets nicked on his wrist. Thankfully, he's okay. And then freaking Francisco Alvarez, man. The marquee moment of the season. Again, you guys all know what happened now. I felt more feeling for this home run than the Pete home run to walk off, truthfully.
Ooh, that's an interesting one.
Because this is 2 outs in the 9th inning. Wow. John went back and found the stat. John, how rare was this Francisco Alvarez home run?
So given the situation, this is pound for pound one of the clutchest home runs in Mets history. Wow. It is the 4th time a Met has hit a game-tying home run with the team down to its last out, down by 3 or 4 runs. So a 3-run home run or a grand slam. This does not happen.
No.
Nope. And, Lindor goes up there as a tying run, strikes out.
Yeah.
Vientos comes up, and you're thinking, like, is he going to do it? Like, the day he comes up, is this the storybook ending? No. But then in the 9-hole behind him is the guy with even possibly more pop. I mean, the lineup was deep last night. That's the craziest thing. And he pulls it off. The other guys, by the way, that did it. Carl Everett hit a game-tying grand slam in 97.
Wow.
Victor Diaz, I don't know, you guys are probably a little bit too young.
I remember Victor Diaz.
Well, you remember Mini Manny, of course.
Yeah.
But do you remember this game? It was September of 2004. Lou Piniella is the Cub manager. The Cubs are trying to get in the playoffs, and Diaz hit a game-tying 3-run home run. It actually screwed the Cubs. The Cubs missed the playoffs that year. Lou Piniella was turning red in the dugout. And then 2015, Daniel Murphy in Atlanta. This team just refuses to lose Gary Cohen call.
Yep.
But this home run is lumped in there. And then obviously they win today, and we said this in the pregame show today. Last night's win, or Wednesday's win, could very well be the victory that you circle when you look back, and that's the moment that turned it around.
100%.
It was incredible.
The vibes were really good. Like, it was feeling down. We were feeling a little, like, down, a little, like, good. Here we go again. We did have friends who left.
And the stadium cleared
out when it was 5-2.
It was a chilly night.
Yeah.
It was, people were just not ready to see this team go down again.
It does blow my mind that people will leave the game early. Like, okay, if you have a car, you don't want to hit traffic, your own call. But people who have
opposite of that car, it's less likely. You almost don't, unless you have really something to do in the morning, which is like, I don't know where those 20 minutes make a difference.
No, but when you have the Super Express after the game, there's no reason to literally not stay here if you're taking public transportation.
Besides LIRR and the NJ Transit, those trains do run every hour.
Okay, that's
and so you might miss one of those. So all those people, I give them. But if you live in the greater New York City area, if you're in a borough and you're taking a subway home, first the Super Express after the game,
it's electric.
Gets you home in a jiff, and they only run that after the game. So to look this team in the eye and be like, I'm gonna leave, take a longer train, and not watch you make the last out. Disrespectful.
We'll say as soon as those people left, it turned right on.
Literally
all turned right around.
That's kind of what felt crazy about this game is that there's been so much negativity in Mets world over the last couple weeks, and like not all of it's been unwarranted, of course. So
yes.
Dropped a bunch of series against some teams that we didn't really think were that good. Okay, it happens, whatever. And you kind of just felt like all the people who were left there were like really, really invested.
Yes.
And like everyone, when you get to those late games, it's cold, it's still early in the season, and we all have to remember that it still is really early in the season here. Like everyone starts to kind of congregate it. Every inning gets like closer and closer and closer.
Yeah.
And eventually, it's just like there's like these vibrations happening like on the field because everybody's locked in.
Dude, on the Francisco Alvarez home run, I mean, like we almost had like a blackout moment where like I forgot a little bit, but we both chest bumped random
strangers.
People,
I was hugging people like in the concourse. Yeah, I bit my lip. I was bleeding.
You
for
were
all extra
bleeding.
innings. I had blood on my like teeth. I was like, I couldn't believe it was happening.
Yeah, no, weird. That was such a big home run. Also, on the game or on the board before the game, we saw Francisco Alvarez has a tattoo that says "the best" on his neck. Was that a real tattoo or was that
real tattoo?
That's electric. I mean,
wait, you never noticed that before?
I never, and it's in red. It kind of hides,
in red,
which is because we talked about Wander Franco's like awesome tattoo before, and now you said you put the debut on there.
Yeah, the date.
Putting the best on your neck that's something. That's a big play move.
You really felt the inclusion of energy last night, and you heard Vientos talk about it after the game, like me. Alvarez, Beatty, like we're brothers. We've been in the system together. We've done so many of these teams together. Like we are, and like you even felt after Pete hit the home run later on, where those guys jumped over that grate together, and like they're banging each other, hugging each other, like oh yeah, like that. You felt something different. And
Alvarez's bat flip. I mean,
yeah, I was about to say that.
Crushed it, and he watched it, and he was like, oh yeah, that ball's got it. He hit it off the second deck and the flip, and he was pumped. Like that's the kind of energy that I felt like this team needed. They needed a jolt of energy. So a little bit of
a pop,
pop or something, and
like
that Alvarez home run, I think is good. We're gonna look back, hopefully at the end of the season, and be like, wow, what a day that was.
Yeah, because it just felt it too. Like he was such a shot too.
Crushed
it was a complete tank.
He's so good.
He's
so good.
ridiculously
He's 21.
He's 21 years old. He's still the youngest regular catcher in 30 years in Major League Baseball, and he's going out there hitting game-time home runs in the 9th inning against one of the best relievers in baseball, Jason Adams. First time Jason Adams given up a home run, that sweeper this year. Go back 2 years. He literally, statistically, is one of the best relievers in baseball. Strikeout rate, ERA, whatever you want. He's unbelievably good. And it left the bat, and he just sunk down, and Alvarez just freaking out.
Did you see his reaction off the bat?
Yep.
Yeah.
If you go to the slow-mo, he turns his head, he goes, sorry, Vito. It was just like a deadpan, like rub up a new one. It was funny.
It was also the moment because it almost happened to him last weekend with Aaron Judge. We talked about this in the last show.
God, yeah.
And he did the same thing, and he went down, he covered his head, and then they caught it at the wall, but there was no chance this was getting caught. No. I mean, that's what they say. Yankee Stadium's a pitcher's park, and Citi Field, it's a bandbox.
Yeah, of course.
That's how it goes.
That's what they say about those two stadiums. It did kind of stink, though, that right after that we did give 2 runs right back, which
was hard.
Was tough. We brought the infield in, got a little sneaky hit through up the middle.
That was the first real moment this year that I was like, I really, really miss Edwin Diaz.
Of course.
Because we took for granted how often he came in the 10th inning last year and was able to shut the team down. To not give up a run
Nobody hit him.
with nobody outs and a man on second is Herculean. And he did it more often than not in 2022. And David Roberts had an incredible year by all accounts.
He's been amazing.
Incredible. And he closed out the game on Wednesday, pitching back-to-back days. But you really just felt like getting that second run, it kind of felt deflating.
Yeah.
It did.
Oh, I was in the bathroom. I made a bathroom run because I don't feel good about this one. And I was in there. I was like 7-5.
And that ball dropped right in front of Starling Marte for the second run, like 2 feet in front of him. I was like, oh my
Man,
God.
7-5 really feels a lot different than 6-5.
Yeah.
Like, this doesn't feel great. But shout out to the fan that will not remain nameless. Did not let us
Will
give
remain
up.
nameless.
Or will remain nameless.
She said, how can you guys quit now?
Did not let us give up at that moment.
We were sulking. I had my face on my hands,
We were
on
real
the
quiet,
table. She was
yeah.
like, what are you doing? She's like, there's 3 more outs.
You got to tip your cap. You got to tip your
No,
cap.
she was dope. We got a group chat now. We're going to watch another game with her for sure.
She manifested this.
She manifested this. She did.
100%. Then, as we know, Pete Alonso
Just did
walk-off home run.
Oh
crushed
my
it.
God.
Crushed it. Again. And, for the people around, everyone was like, come on, get out. Me and you, we started celebrating as soon as the
second
ball
it
was
left
hit.
the bat,
Like,
yeah.
ball's not even close to being caught. And he hit it so high and so far up into the second deck. And Pete, sick day. Flu game a little bit for Pete Alonso, too, with that home run.
Yeah, bucked after the game. And also, Stat John just dropped us. Mets are now 12-2 in games decided in extra innings since the start of 2022. It's the best record in MLB. And a lot of that is Edwin Diaz, of course, yeah. But it's cool to get another one, especially get another one off of the best team in baseball. Also, to get one
Pete Fairbanks.
Yeah, Pete Fairbanks. Hit off Pete Fairbanks. And, oh, man. Yeah, right, Pete Fairbanks. Wait. Alvarez had a quote about Adam. Did I get Adam and Fairbanks mixed up
Maybe.
in the 8th and 9th?
No.
Did Fairbanks pitch in 9th or the
No.
10th?
No,
Fairbanks
no.
pitched in the 10th.
Because
You
did
were
you
right.
see Fairbanks' quote?
No, what?
Shout out Mark Topkin, who tweeted
Mark
this
Topkin's
last
great.
night. He joined us for the pregame show today.
really?
Awesome. Long Island
Great.
guy.
Good dude. Oh, I didn't realize that. Great
Yeah.
follow on Twitter for the All Rays News.
Great baseball guy. I was kind of starstruck meeting him, honestly. He's a really big deal.
I've been following him forever. One of my first follows on
he's
a
awesome,
baseball
yeah.
Twitter account.
But anyway, so Pete Fairbanks, after the game, said, yeah, I just left it in a spot where Alonso could get it. It was an unfortunate time to be the lesser of the 2 Petes. Hilarious quote.
good quote.
Very, very funny quote.
It's a good quote by Pete.
No, now remembering the quote, though. Alvarez said that he channeled the at-bat he had earlier this
Against
season
Hader.
against Josh
Yes.
Hader
Yeah.
about sliders, being like, if I get one of these in the zone, I just got to take a hack at it. I got to take a hack at it. Because I do remember that bat against Hader. That was right when he came up.
Yes.
And he looked really overmatched.
He did look overmatched, yeah.
But isn't that amazing how much he's learning?
It's great what happens when you play these guys.
He's crazy. And if you, a great tool to see how players are acclimating or what kind of streaks they're in. The Fangraphs graphs, and you can set it to per game graphs. So you can see the rolling graphs. And his strikeout rate and his walk rate are going like this.
Love it.
And they're pretty close
Love
together
it.
over the last 10 games right now. The guy's really learning.
I mean, we knew from the start, we've been telling you guys, Alvarez has the ability to be a very, very special player. There's very few times a catcher who, remember, we were told he couldn't play good defense. So just strictly off his hitting, he was one of the top prospects in baseball.
People say these things. I don't know where they get them from. He's been pretty good defensively.
Catching, I'm not a professional catcher, but I caught and I understand catching.
But I also remember when Mike Conforto was coming up years ago, he was billed as someone who was like a clunk in the outfield.
Yeah, of course.
And he was not bad at all.
Jeff McNeil was
Brandon Nimmo, same
Jeff
way.
McNeil was told he can't play anywhere in the field.
Yeah,
the guy
he-
literally plays everywhere.
Pete Alonso, everyone said he was a butcher and a lifetime DH. He's been a really steady first
he's been
baseman.
a great
fine.
first base
Good
this
enough.
year.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think a lot of these scouts need
Even
to,
way back in the day, when Francisco Lindor was coming up in Cleveland, people said he couldn't hit. He was a slap hitter. He was a slap hitter, defensive shortstop, and it was all right.
I don't know. They get so caught up with these random things that are wrong. And Francisco Alvarez has proven everybody wrong because he's played great defensively behind the plate too. Mets win that game. Boy, did we need it.
Yeah. Also, another big thing about this game, just the last thing to wrap it up. Pete was really frustrated early on.
Yes.
Because he had the at-bat in the first inning with a lot of ducks on the pond, ground to a double play. And the Met, it really just feels like this first inning thing is really getting to them. And then he had another at bat a couple innings later where he put one to the warning track.
Yeah.
He showed some visible frustration. That was when the team was still had 0 runs. So it was really cool to see him be the hero in this one.
100%.
Then he cursed.
Yeah.
And then he
Then he
curse
cursed
on television.
All right, let's do it for Vito. We could all can we curse this one time, Vito?
I mean, John curses whenever he wants.
All right,
That's yeah, we're good. John's
Correct.
bad. We
let's
know.
fucking go Mets. There we go.
Yeah.
Was that the right time for it? I feel like, I don't know.
that was the right time.
Was
Yeah,
it?
he needed that. He needed that for
Needed
sure.
that.
If that win turns it all around, then fine. It's
Like
the right time.
that was a good moment. Also, like he hit the big home run. And Steve Gelb was like, "What do you think of Francisco Alvarez?" And he was like, "I'll bring the attention back to myself."
Let's talk about Pete Alonso's home run.
Like it's
there,
Pete
yeah.
Alonso. I'm Pete Alonso.
Great win. Mets fans, along with the team, needed it desperately. Needed it.
7 train was electric after the game.
Oh, it was sick.
There was a guy on our 7 train who was like chugging Budweiser, like because he bought them from the train guys, and like he was like holding it up and pouring it on his face, and he put up a flag that said "out of here" in the train.
Yeah.
when we were going home.
A lot of chants going on in the
People
train.
were going crazy
It
in
was-
that train.
It was fun. It was
Yeah.
a good time to be a Mets fan. You could just feel like just a sense of relief for everybody. Of like, whew, okay. And it also brought us, because, I mean, we had to be back at the stadium about 12 hours later, just like John Vito a little earlier than us. And we were like, you know what? I'm excited for this one. That was a
Yeah.
great game. We got a chance to win a series, which we haven't done in quite some time, since 420 basically. And a great start by Megill. Great
Really good start by Megill. Probably pound for pound, probably his best of the whole year, especially considering the team he was playing against and just the fact that momentum was so vitally important. And the fact that he gave up an earned run in the first inning, and it felt like the Rays were really seeing him well.
Yeah.
Taking some good at bats. I was a little bit scared about it going
I
in.
was super
but
scared.
He got to 6 innings, which was huge for Megill. Second time he's done it this year. Only that run, and then one more that happened in the 6th. We'll talk about that in a second. But 4 strikeouts, and he got 12 whiffs. Second straight start with at least 12 after only getting that one other time this year. So it looks like that slider, which is really important. We're talking about how important Megill's secondaries are, is starting to come along a little bit, especially against a lefty-heavy lineup today for the Tampa Bay Rays. The fact he was confident to throw it was good.
Isn't that something you told me about coming back from injuries? That the velocity is always there, but it's usually like the breaking balls and the command is what comes
Yes.
next.
Well,
so
yeah,
maybe
yeah.
that's what we're starting to see a little bit with Tylor
And
Megill.
the
Baby
velocity-
steps.
The velocity's fine. It was like 94, 95 all day. Got a couple of 96. And the fastball did get 8 whiffs. And he was like sitting it up in the zone. And Tyler McGill's just really good at something that I'm going to say is like this is old baseball, but he's really good at bearing down. Like when there's a guy on base, like Tyler McGill just seems to
Gutsy.
like, yeah, he's gutsy. It's been really important what he's been able to do these last few weeks to this
Yeah.
team, just giving steady innings every single week. Like that's incredibly important.
Well, I mean, like even with like Verlander not pitching that well, still went like 5 innings
I
or
think it
whatever
was
it was.
5, yeah.
But like you see how much of a difference it makes just for your pitchers to pitch basically the minimum.
Yeah.
Like 5 innings. We got 6 out of 2 guys. That's huge. It's
That
huge.
is.
It completely changes the outlook of the game because now instead of having to go to our deeper part of the bullpen, you get to go to Jeff Brigham, your boy. We get to go to Adam Ottavino, David Robertson, Drew Smith, like the guys that we want in those big moments getting those final outs.
James, to your point, this year, Megill, with runners in scoring position, opponent's batting average, 175.
That's
fantastic.
incredible. Yeah, it's great. Wow, hell yeah. Yeah, he's bearing down. That's
Bearing
good. I mean,
down.
hey, like sometimes you just gotta gut it out. Like would we say that these Mets pitchers like need a little Jordan Lyles in them, where it's
Little,
just like
yeah.
things aren't going that well. You just gotta get out there and pitch. Just get a couple guys out, get to the next inning.
You got to will 8 innings.
Yeah, sometimes you just gotta squeeze the ball tight.
Jordan Lyles got to lead the league in like 8 inning losses.
Jordan Lyles has to have the fewest highlights that have ever been distributed in Major League Baseball. I've never seen a video of him pitch on the internet. Never.
He strikes out like 2 guys a
he
game.
throws 200 innings a year, but it's just like it's white knuckling. It's just like
Yeah.
I'm not gonna let this get away. And there was a moment in the 6th inning where I felt like this game probably could have gotten away, where the Rays put like 5 to the warning track in a row, and then the lineup turned over for a 3rd time. We've talked to you guys about how important that lineup turning over for a 3rd time is for hitters. And Josh Lowe came up, and it just looked like he had a very easy home run.
It was guaranteed.
Yeah, it was a lock and a half. But he had an incredible series. He's a really good baseball player.
good.
He like first round pick. It took him a long time to get to the majors. Kind of also probably shows some Mets fans about like how important like seasoning in the minors is.
Yeah.
He played a full season last year at Durham where he had like a 140 WRC plus. And he came up a little bit last year to 10 games though. He just didn't really have like the type of play discipline that they really wanted for him to like become a star. And now he went down for a full year, came back up, and he is like unstoppable.
Mashing.
He's got like 56 combined runs and RBIs through like 40-something games.
Gonna be an all-star.
Yeah, he's a freakishly good player. But he hit that home run, and then the Rays kept challenging after that, and it was just like, oh no, he's got to get out, he's got to get out. And then shout out Michael Perez.
Sure.
Getting in here for the day game after the night game. Snap throw behind, I want to say
Harold Ramirez.
Harold Ramirez, yeah.
After 2 walks, I think, in a row.
I think a walk or a single, or
Something
maybe
like
hit by
that,
pitch,
yeah.
whatever. There's a man on first and second. And he got caught in a rundown with a man on second, and I think it was Rosarena on second. The second happened.
He just
was
looked at him. He's like,
yeah,
come on, man.
Randy Rosarena wears it on his sleeve for sure. And cool to see these guys this series. Talking
Yes.
about Wander Franco, Rosarena, like these guys were a lot of fun on the baseball field. Really cool to see
Randy
them in
hit a
person.
double in this game and did the patent, did the look.
And Wander just like stealing bases with ease on Wednesday night. But That was a huge moment. Got us out of that jam. Got us to the bullpen, which is, again, literally, besides for Wednesday, which is hilarious. Like, the bullpen's been so lights out.
So lights out.
Yeah. It's also so funny on Wednesday. We still couldn't, like, sync everything up. Like, had the bats, had the starting pitching. That day the bullpen.
No bullpen.
Yeah, that day the bullpen doesn't pitch well. But whatever. It happened. Still won the game. And we scratched across just enough. Like, Pete hit another home run on Thursday. Couple dinks and donks. Got some hits.
Tommy Pham.
Big time Tommy.
Big time Tommy.
Game-winning single. Line driving the books.
There it is. I mean, it's so funny how the hard hit balls have not fallen for him, but I think his, like, 3 out of his last 4 maybe hits have all been hit under 90 miles an hour. He has not hit them hard, and they've been falling for hits, which is like baseball's an unfair sport sometimes.
It is baseball. That's it. John said Pete is 1 home run shy of tying his all-time favorite player for being the king of Citi Field.
You know who that is, right?
Did it CU?
Nah.
Lucas Duda.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I knew it was
Hell
Lucas
yeah.
Duda.
Hell yeah.
That's, I mean, dude, it's pretty funny. Like, if you guys went out to the plaza before a game and asked 100 Mets fans who has the most home runs in this ballpark right here, how many people are saying the name Lucas Duda first try?
We should do that Saturday morning.
Let's try it.
Could be
Let's try it
a little
Saturday.
content there.
We should do a TikTok with that Saturday morning.
Before it's too late.
Who has the most home runs in Citi Field history? Yeah. All right. If you guys are listening to this, play along. Just
Yeah.
don't say anything.
Why?
Or
Yeah,
just
maybe
tell
we
us
have
before.
to cut that.
No,
Damn.
keep it in there.
All right.
No, keep it in. We'll just if we're doing the TikToks, we'll edit you guys out. No worries.
Pretty much, if you get it right, we knew you cheated.
Yeah, and we know you're fans. We'll have a sticker for you.
It's a sample. It's a sample size.
Yeah, that's fine. But freaking great. It was so cool to just win these games.
Yeah.
You know what else is great about this?
What else?
Entering this series, Tampa Bay had lost just 4 times this year when scoring the first run. Now, I know in baseball, it's not like hockey or football necessarily, but still, Tampa Bay had been pretty much locked down when getting on top first. Mets came back twice against them.
Yeah.
Now the Mets have the best record, winning percentage at least, when scoring the first run. The Mets only have 2 losses all year when scoring the first run.
How many times have they scored the first run?
Who's that?
The Mets.
Let's
I
take
think it's
a
like
look.
15.
No, now it is 15.
Yeah.
It is 15.
13
so,
2?
yes. Yeah. So, I mean, that counting number is not very high. That's why I threw the percentage at you.
Yeah.
But still, like, they've done a good job nursing their leads, as is Tampa Bay. Only 4 teams before this had been able to crack the Rays when Tampa took the lead.
And again, at the end of the day, we said this before. The Mets bullpen this year overall has been
great.
really, really good. Like Jeff Brigham had a good inning today. Brooks,
boy.
our boy. The fact that he has become actual
huge.
like a high leverage reliever for this team. Like, didn't you guys
We
know when you
said
heard
it
it
first,
Oh
and not
my
even
God.
we. It was James.
I told you guys in December this guy was going to be a real piece. I don't know where this the back end of this bullpen be without Jeff Brigham. Like, he's getting important outs against the Rays in the 8th inning.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Like,
Stud.
Sorry, go finish your statement. We got one more guy to shout out.
I had nothing. What else?
We need to shout out Josh Walker.
Yeah, Josh Walker,
boy.
Major League debut.
That's John's Jeff Brigham, Josh Walker.
Yeah.
You've been fighting for Josh Walker as long as we've known you to be on this team.
He's a great story. I mean, you know he went to college, right? Played his college ball?
Merrimack.
New Haven.
Oh, close.
Wow.
Yeah, so he knows all the pizza spots, but 29 years old, 2017 draft pick, 37th round, I think.
Wow.
He
that
was
late.
he was
That's really
very late.
yeah.
Injury after injury after injury. Huge guy, athletic guy.
He's a big
Finally comes up. Very good to see, and hope nothing but the best for him.
And happy to have another lefty in this bullpen.
Yes, always
All right.
great to have more arms out there. So, shout out to the Mets.
Shout out to the Mets.
What a series.
Amazing. I mean, it's just you feel like, all right, we can do it again.
Yeah,
Like
I
all
mean-
the people who think baseball seasons end in May, like, all right, all right.
Haters gonna hate. I don't know if we can convince those, but like I think if there was anybody on the fence, you've got to feel at least better after watching this series. It was the Rays are unequivocally the best team in baseball right now.
It's also just cool, again, to see a team rise to the occasion. Like you said last episode, like,
Yeah.
maybe this team just needs to like really get into like some crazy baseball. And like the atmosphere was pretty lively this week.
We won the chaos game.
Yeah, we did win the chaos game. And that really felt like a 2022 Mets like shining
Yes.
back through. Like crazy comeback, not quitting, never say die.
2 3-run home runs.
Yeah, I know.
2 3-run home runs to tie and win the game.
When was the last Mets 3-run home run?
Oh, there's a nugget about that.
Yeah.
The Mets are the first team in the expansion era to hit a game-tying 3-run home run in the 9th and a walk-off 3-run homer in the 10th. It had never happened since
Wow.
pretty much the entire history of the Mets. But
my
I'm talking
God.
any team.
Yeah.
That's something else.
No,
That's
that's something
insane.
else. That's a great game. I mean, we went to one of the best games like in recent Mets history.
And another caveat here. I'm 7-2 at Mets games this year.
You are.
It's 7-2. One of them happened in Los Angeles. That was also the last time the Mets won a series.
Oh.
But 7-2.
Went to 2 games this series.
Right? Yeah, it's kind of ridiculous,
Gotta
honestly.
get James in the ballpark more.
Yeah, especially in terms of the actual record. Like being 7-2 is ridiculous.
It's
Like
like
what? We're 22 and 23.
I think so. Yeah. It's a third of the wins.
So without me, they're 15-21.
Yeah.
Wow.
Need James Shiano in the ballpark
I
a little more.
gotta get back here this weekend.
Speaking of which, let's go ahead and go over that estimate here. John, I know you did not get to join us in the last one, but you're here
Didn't
for this
know.
one.
I was out of town, but
Yes,
I'm
it
back
was
now.
relief pitcher innings by both teams. I had 21. James had 20. Who is the winner here?
The grand total, thanks to Josh Fleming and Jalen Beeks and Kevin Cash and a slew of injuries in the Rays rotation, 25 and a third innings. So
Nice.
Mark wins
Nice.
again. He takes a 2-game lead, but that's nothing insurmountable.
No.
We can.
I had 24 first, and I went against my gut, which was stupid. And you know what else? I also told you guys being in the series that the Rays are starved for pitching depth right
Yes.
now, and that really helps us win these games.
100%.
Because we're facing Kevin Kelly in late innings, and that's it.
So now we got Cleveland up
Yes.
for the second of this 2 series homestand, 6-game homestand, and some familiar faces on both sides. Obviously, the big trade. What was it, January 7th, I think, 2021. Isn't that funny? I remember it well. The next day, January 7th, the big trade went down. Francisco Lindor becomes a Met. What are you guys laughing about? The Cubs or?
No, the Cubs. No, I think John was busy that week.
Yeah, I was. What was I doing that week? The NHL was about to start. Actually, they started their season late.
Did you catch a Caps game?
No, they hadn't started yet. No. No, that's someone else. But anyway, they weren't allowing fans in the building at that time anyway. So, all right. So Cleveland's in town. The big deal, you got Francisco Lindor on the Mets, obviously, now, and Carlos Carrasco will return. You guys will talk about that in a second. Ahmed Rosario, Andres Jimenez coming back for Cleveland. Their first trip. I believe the last time Cleveland came to Citi Field was August of 2019. Remember the walk-off hit, JD against Brad Hand?
I was there.
Oh,
that was a hot month for the boys.
That was during the run.
Brad Hand.
That was during the run. Yeah,
Brad
that
Hand,
was-
yes.
I just come back. I was in Paris. I was like in LaGuardia, like going through customs. I just got back, like listening to that game on Howie, like the second I got off, because that was the game that went late. It was like 16 innings, right?
It went extras. No, there was one game. So the Mets took the first 2. I think that was game 2. The third game.
Game 2.
Yeah, again, game 2. The Guardians, it was rain. There were 2 long delays, and Francona would not give in. This was game 3. They lost the first 2.
In the JD Davis game, there was no rain.
No, that was game 2. And then game 3, we had about 3 hours worth of rain delays because the Guardians, I think they were still the Indians at the time, didn't want to get swept, and they refused to just say, yeah, we can't play. And I remember I walked out of here at like 1 a.m., didn't get to the Holland Tunnel in time. I got home at like 3 that night. Disaster, but it's been a while.
Gotta hit a tunnel on the way home.
Well,
That's
the
rough.
Holland Tunnel is...
Wow.
But anyway, so this series estimate, I want to know, and we're going to do a little combo here. Total bases of the position players involved in that trade, and to include Cookie Carrasco, welcome back, Cookie, we'll include his strikeouts. That conglomerate number.
Okay.
So it's a tough one.
Yeah, I mean,
It's a tough one.
Rosario and Jimenez
Not been very good this year.
No.
they're playing baseball. That's what I'll say.
Yeah.
They are playing baseball.
I want to see how often they're both been playing. Like, are they still even playing every day?
Well, Rocchio did just get called up because J-Ram is not playing in this series because he's on the bereavement list, I believe.
We are really getting a lot of good players missing games against us.
So I believe
Wow.
he's not going to play this weekend because of the bereavement list. We just lost Light. We good? I don't know.
You guys are shining lights, so I think we're good.
yeah.
Hey,
there
we're
it is.
back.
We're back with the light.
It's voice activated. So I guess Rocchio's going to play third then, surely, right?
Yeah.
I don't think they can really lose these guys. Yeah, what are the numbers we're feeling here? And you got Carrasco coming back first start. Got to take into account, like, your best case scenario is probably 5 innings, realistically, in the first start back. I'm going to go with, I like this a lot. That's going to be,
Mark does quick math. It just, to the point, you kind of talk your way through it, but you get there. I like it.
I'm a smart guy.
I like
What
it.
can I say?
I like
I'm a numbers man.
I'm a smart guy.
Med Rosario leads the league in triples, by the way, with 4.
Yeah, that's about it.
Yeah, that's 3 bases. That's 12 bases right there.
He can run. That is,
He can
both
run.
of those guys can run. Wait, nobody look. What's Ahmed Rosario's first name?
Ahmed.
James?
Jose, right?
No.
Oh.
Herman.
Herman.
Herman
I knew
Ahmed
it was something
Rosario.
weird.
Yeah.
Trick
Fun fact.
question, you
Did
got
not know that. Topical name this week. But
Bobby Baez's first name. You know what his name is? Ednal.
I just found out Al Leiter's full name.
Aloysius?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that common
Or
for people?
Alois, I think.
Alois. It's
Yeah,
A-L-O-I-S.
yeah,
Is that common for people named Al?
No, I don't think so.
Like Al is usually just it.
I think Al is short for Albert normally.
I might have wrote this number backwards.
You're learning a lot this week, John. John just learned that Ray's Pizza is a thing.
Oh, I thought we were going to get through the
Not a
episode.
city guy.
Not
All
a
right,
city guy.
well-
All right, I got my number.
All
Me
right.
too.
Thank you
Ready?
let's change it to a subject.
All right. 3, 2, 1. You can't see it on my cup, but I did write 10.
I wrote 17.
10 and 17.
10 is low, man.
How'd you break down your numbers?
I basically went 4, 4, 4, 4 with one
Wow.
with one little extra.
Okay, I went 4, 2, 4. Oh my God, I forgot Lindor. That's a botch. I forgot about Francisco Lindor. Okay, hey, you got to play the numbers that I gave.
That's it.
Forgot about Lindor.
Big range.
He's giving you one, James. He's giving you one.
That's why I did it so quick. I'm so smart.
Yeah, you're so smart.
Yeah, we distracted him.
3/4 of the guys.
Wow. Well,
There we
hey,
go.
Carrasco. Or, hey, Andres Jimenez and Ahmed Rosario. Maybe no bases this series.
Maybe no bases. I mean,
no bases.
Yeah, those guys haven't had that many bases recently. You guys start to preview the series now.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, we got pitching matchups coming out. We got a 7:10. Our favorite start time on Saturday, 4 o'clock.
No, boo.
I think we're both going to be here.
That's fine.
Bobblehead day, too. Bobblehead day.
7 p.m. Sunday. I'll take it. It's okay.
Yeah, 7 p.m. Sunday. Yeah, it's a lot. And then Sunday Night Baseball, Sunday. Verlander, Bieber, Sunday Night Baseball.
Interesting.
And then Saturday, Scherzer, Bybee. You guys are going to get to see Tanner Bybee, a favorite of the Mets'd podcast.
That boy can pitch.
Yeah. And then Friday evening, Carlos Carrasco versus Cal Quantrill. Could be probably a lot of contact in that game.
Real international affair there.
Yeah.
Cal Quantrill, Canadian.
Ah,
Team Canada
there
player.
you go. Oh, a lot of North America, no United States.
No United States there,
Interesting.
yeah.
This is also probably one of the oldest manager matchups you could possibly have in baseball
Yeah,
with Terry and Buck besides Dusty.
that's fair.
Yeah.
That's definitely one of the older ones. But you're looking at this lineup right now. Their power or their offense comes from Jose Ramirez.
We'll say an absolute fact. Statistically speaking,
Yes.
the Guardians have some of the fewest runs scored in baseball.
That is a stat.
Statistically,
I have no comment or thought or theory
No.
about what that means, but that is a stat that is true.
yeah, it's stat that's true. I'm going to get the numbers right now, especially in the power department. The Guardians have struggled. They kind of seem to do this every single year, where everyone's like, "Oh, the Guardians are good. Guardians could contend the AL. They have all this great pitching, great bullpen. Just need a couple of these bats to be what they got to be." And over a year, it's kind of like, all right, this kind of just doesn't wind up the way they really wanted.
Josh Bell will be back in Citi
Yeah.
Field. We know he loves to play against the Mets. It's a little concerning.
Guardians have, again, this is just another fact. It's a fact they have the fewest home runs in baseball.
Okay,
It's a fact.
that is a fact.
They have 23 of them.
You ever heard of David Fry?
Never heard of David Fry.
Never heard of David Fry. He's on this team. I don't know who that is.
And then otherwise, I mean, Jimenez has had a real step back this year after a breakout season last year. He, in terms of WAR, was theoretically an MVP candidate.
Yeah.
He somehow had like a 140 WRC plus. He was hitting the ball hard. He had he had 20 home runs.
He wasn't hitting the ball hard.
Yeah, it wasn't in the ball hard. Just really finding good ways to get it out. And this year, he's taken kind of a big step back to kind of the Andres Jimenez you guys probably remember when he was like the slap hitting second baseman. Ahmed Rosario's never taken the step, which I'm sure most Mets fans probably felt that. Stephen Kwan, while he was really fun last year, he's really just hits a lot of singles at the end of the day. Josh Bell's a bit of a disappointment. Josh Naylor crushes the ball.
Crushes righties.
Crushes the ball.
Canadian.
Also Canadian,
Wow,
yeah.
couple Canadians. And then,
Brother Bo should get the call up soon.
yeah, Brother Bo's good.
Yeah,
Bo
Bo
Naylor.
Naylor.
Bo Naylor's a good baseball player. And then besides that, at the bottom of this order, Gabriel Arias is he's a good baseball player, but he's never really going to get to that power, it seems like. Miles Straw, Will Brennan, Mike Zunino, again, David Fry. We're going to see Brian Rocchio play as a fun little prospect, but also the same kind of archetype where I'm going to make a lot of contact and play good defense. Let's out-hit these guys.
One thing, though, that we said the Rays didn't necessarily have, that the Guardians definitely have, that bullpen is money.
It's insane.
Bullpen's disgusting.
Yeah.
And Emmanuel Clase hasn't even really been good this year.
I think his ERA is like 1.9.
It's 2.9.
Okay.
2.9, but
Oh.
he's striking out nobody. He has 13 strikeouts on
Never
the year.
strikes anybody out. Yeah.
No, he did last year a little bit, though.
A little bit, yeah.
A little bit. But their bullpen is absolutely disgusting.
No, yeah. Apart from Class A, James Karinchak has somehow found a way to be good again. Who knows how or why? Trevor Stefan, how do you pronounce it? Stefan or Steven? Stefan? Yeah. Stefan's good. Sam Hench is a guy who I don't think his stats are really great, but he has like a really crazy fastball from the left side. He's a huge dude. He's like 6'8". He's a heavy fastball. It really gets on you. Eniel De Los Santos, one of my favorite sleeper relievers in the whole league.
I think one of the first articles you told me that you ever wrote about had Eniel De Los Santos in it.
Something like that, yeah. He just throws a lot of junk, lots of pitches for a reliever. It gets a lot of whiffs on all of them. But this bullpen is fearful, and the Guardians have good starting pitching. Cal Quantrill, he pitches to a lot of contact, but he always finds a way to get good results year after year. And then Bybee, he came up recently. He was one of those prospects who wasn't on a prospect list, but just always had amazing stats in the minors. Has a wipeout slider, a really good fastball with life. He's good. And then Shane Bieber, everyone knows.
Yep, everybody knows about Shane Bieber, former Cy Young Award winner. Not the same Shane Bieber that he once was, but still very, very effective and useful. Guardians play good defense. They're pitching solid. You're going to have to play clean games to beat the Guardians. It's not just walk all over them by any means. And
no, for sure.
We know we should not be taking anybody for advantage.
Nope, no. We got to face every single team like they're the Rays.
Yeah.
One more shout out before we get out of here. Vito's done a great job this week. He's on the smoke now.
I am on the smoke now.
Vito smoke.
Vito doesn't want the smoke.
I've been doing the smoke for about a week now. It's a thrill, So when you see that smoke come out, know that I'm right there behind it. Mm-hmm. But yeah, we had some good smoke, and I got to say, the last 2 days, we did win when I was doing smoke, so I feel really good about it.
I thought you were about to go out there and take third base.
I saw you doing it today. I looked down, and I was like, There's our producer right there.
Yeah.
I was down there. You might have noticed that the smoke went off a little early.
A little bit.
At
Saw
1
that.
second.
Hand
so, little backstory behind that. That wasn't my fault. Francisco Lindor decided to play a little prank on me, where at the base of the stairs, he saw me looking at the thing ready to go, and the second the Succession music hit, he sprinted up the stairs. I hit the smoke, and then he jumped back and went, got him, and then started laughing with everybody in the dugout at me.
Maybe you're what's loosened up this team, Vito.
I don't want to take credit. Now I'm like John, afraid that I got to cut stuff out.
Oh no! All right, but I guess we're gonna wrap it up with the outro again too.
Yeah,
We're gonna do it
of
till
course,
yeah.
yeah.
So that's another great episode of the Messed Up Podcast. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for watching. You can find us on Twitter at Mets'd. You can follow me at James_Shiano. Follow Mark
At Giraffe Neck Mark with a C.
with a C. Can't forget the C. Mark got mobbed in the Coke Corner today when we went out there. It was school day at the ballpark.
Shout out to Pelham Middle School.
Yeah, Pelham Middle School loved Mark. About 30 kids came up for
Took
selfies.
a picture with the teacher.
Took a picture with the teacher. It was a pretty unbelievable moment.
I gotta add, I'm not gonna say who it was, but when me and Mark were leaving after the last episode, a group full of kids were waiting for autographs last week.
He signed a ball today.
Mark-
I said, how many subscribers you have?
James, these kids ran over, and I will say, a very, very famous Mets person pulled up in their car to sign autographs, and this kid did not leave Mark.
It's true. It did happen.
It's the Giraffe Neck Mark effect, you know?
It is drafting Mark effect. But hey, again, thank you guys for listening. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next after the Guardian series.
Let's go, Mets.
Peace out. See you next time.